So, to start our lesson for today, let me define first what is critical thinking. Critical thinking is the intellectually disciplined process of actively and skillfully conceptualizing, applying, analyzing, synthesizing, and or evaluating information gathered from or generated by observation, experience, reflection, reasoning, or communication as a guide to belief and action. So, critical thinking is the act of analyzing facts to understand a problem or topic truly. The critical thinking process typically includes steps such as collecting information and data, asking thoughtful questions, and analyzing possible solutions. Like, for example, if you're working in human resources and need to resolve a conflict between the two employees, you will use critical thinking to understand the nature of the conflict and what action should be taken to resolve the situation. Next is critical thinking begins when you question beyond what is given. So you want to know more, and then you will be questioning like how something happened, why it's happened, and further, what will happen if something change. So, critical thinking therefore requires a conscious level of processing, analysis, creation, and evaluation of possible outcomes and reflection. Then, how can you tell if you are a critical thinker? So first, if you're a critical thinker, you think. So basically, you would think critically. So you are going to examine your beliefs, assumptions, and opinions and weight them against facts. You are willing to evaluate the generalization and stereotypes you have created and are open to change if necessary. So next is critical thinker listens carefully. So if you're a critical thinker, you should listen carefully to what others are saying and are able to give feedbacks. You are able to suspend judgment until all the facts have been gathered and considered.
Critical thinkers look for evidence. If you're a critical thinker, you look for evidence to support your assumption and beliefs. You examine problems closely and are able to reject information that is incorrect or irrelevant. Critical thinkers are curious. They are interested in knowing all there is about a topic. They'll look for new and better ways to do everything. They are not the person who will settle for because what is the way we have always done it. Therefore, through experience, as a critical thinker, you will first identify information that is being put forth as an argument and break it down to its basic component of evaluation. Second, construct alternative interpretations. Third, be willing to explore diverse perspectives. Fourth, be willing to change personal assumptions when presented with valid information. Lastly, be willing to ask difficult questions and the ability to receptive to opposing viewpoints. So, the definition of critical thinking is thinking outside the box, divergent thinking, forming logical inferences, limitless thinking, higher level thinking involving evaluating, analyzing, synthesizing, forming opinions, assessing, rating, making inferences, drawing conclusions, and lastly is a critiquing.
Why critical thinking is important? Because it underlies reading, writing, listening, and speaking basic elements of communication. Also, it plays an important part in social change, institutions in any society, courts, governments, schools, business are the products of critical thinking. It plays a major role in technological advances. It is important because also it places a path to freedom from half-truths and deceptions. So how can one people become a critical thinker? First, by asking pertinent questions of self as well as other. Next is by assessing statements and arguments. By developing a sense of observations and curiosity. By becoming interested in finding new solutions. By examining beliefs, assumptions, and opinions and weighing them against truth. By developing a thinker's vocabulary. Next is by listening carefully to others' thinking about what they say and giving feedback. By observing with an open mind. By making assertions based on sound, logic, and solid evidence. By sharing ideas with others. By becoming an open-minded listener and reader. And lastly is by engaging in an active reading and active listening.
Critical thinking. Why is critical thinking important? First, critical thinking is universal. Critical thinking is a domain general thinking skill. What does this mean? It means that no matter what path or profession you pursue, these skills will always be relevant and will always be beneficial to your success. They are not specific to any field. Here are the universal standards for critical thinking. These are clarity, precision, accuracy, relevant, depth, breadth, logicalness, significance, and fairness. Second, critical thinking crucial for the economy. Our future depends on technology, information, and innovation. Critical thinking is needed for our fast-growing economies to solve problems as quickly and as effectively as possible, in the sense that it provides an entry into a way of thinking that economists find useful, since the assumption is that trained experts such as economists think critically relative to non-experts. Teaching critical thought necessarily involves teaching the models and method that experts use. Third, critical thinking improves language and presentation skills. In order to best express ourselves, we need to know how to think clearly and systematically, meaning practice critical thinking. Critical thinking also means knowing how to break down text and, in turn, improve our ability to comprehend. By thinking critically, you can present your thought in an organized manner. Analyzing your data logically helps you express your idea more effectively. Critical thinking encourages creativity and innovation. Fourth, promotes creativity by practicing critical thinking. We are allowing ourselves not only to solve problems, but also to come up with new and creative ideas to do so. Critical thinking allows us to analyze these ideas and adjust them accordingly. In turn, critical thinking comes into a clear focus when we recognize it as a creative act that enriches understanding by giving rise to something that wasn't there before. And last but not the least, critical thinking important for self-reflection. Without critical thinking, how can we really live a meaningful life? We need the skill to self-reflect and justify our ways of life and opinions. Critical thinking provides us with the tools to evaluate ourselves in the way that we need to. Critical thinking can help you better understand yourselves. and in turn help you avoid any kind of negative or limiting beliefs and focus more on your strength. Being able to share your thought can increase your quality of life.
Benefits of critical thinking. We know that critical thinking is good for society as a whole. But what are some benefits of critical thinking on an individual level? Why is critical thinking important for us? First, the key for career success. Critical thinking is crucial for many career paths, not just for scientists, but lawyers, doctors, reporters, engineers, accountants, and analysts, among many others. All have to use critical thinking in their positions. In fact, according to the World Economic Forum, critical thinking is one of the most desirable skills to have in the workforce, as it helps analyze information, think outside the box, solve problems with innovative solutions, and plan systematically. Second, better decision making. There's no doubt about it. Critical thinkers make the best choices. Critical thinking helps us deal with everyday problems as they come our way. And very often this thought process is even done subconsciously. It helps us think independently and trust our gut feeling. Third, can make you happier. While this often goes unnoticed, being in touch with yourself and having a deep understanding of why you think the way you think can really make you happier. Critical thinking can help you better understand yourself and in turn help you avoid any kind of negative or limiting beliefs and focus more on your strength. Being able to share your thoughts can increase your quality of life. Fourth, form well informed opinions. There is no shortage of information coming at us from all angles. And that's exactly why we need to use our critical thinking skills and decide for ourselves what to believe. Critical thinking allows us to ensure that our opinions are based on the fact and help us sort through all that extra noises. Fifth is better citizens. One of the most inspiring critical thinking quotes is by former US President Thomas Jefferson. Uneducated citizenry is a vital requisite for all survival as a free people. What Jefferson is stressing to us here is that critical thinkers make better citizens, as they are able to see the entire picture without getting sucked into biases and propaganda.
Number six is improving relationships. While you may be convinced that being a critical thinker is bound to cause you problems in relationships, this really couldn't be less true. Being a critical thinking can allow to better understand the perspective of one another and may help you to become more open-minded in all things towards a various or different views. So, seven is this promotes curiosity. So, critical thinkers are constantly curious about everything that happen in life, also to all kinds in life, and tend to have a wide range of interest. Critical thinking means constantly asking questions and wanting to know more about why, what, who, where, when, and everything else that can help them make sense of a situation, never taking anything at face value. Since it's we are talking about curiosity, uh, a curious people wants to know more about things and all things happen in life. We have number 8, allows for creativity. Critical thinkers are also a highly creative thinker and somehow see themselves as limitless when it comes to possibilities. They are constantly looking to think things further, which is crucial in the workforce. We have number 9. It enhances problem solving skills. So those with critical thinking skills tend to solve problems as part of their natural instincts. So critical thinkers are patient and committed to solving the problem, similar to Albert Einstein, of course. So one of the best critical thinking examples who said, "It's not that I'm so smart, it's just I stay with no problems longer." And critical thinkers enhance problem solving skills, um, make them better at their jobs, at solving the world's biggest problem. Like Einstein again, they have the potential to literally change the world. 10 is an activity for the mind. Just like our muscles, in order for them to be strong, it needs a exercise. So our mind, it also needs to be exercised and challenged. It's safe to say that critical thinking is almost like an activity for the mind and it needs to be practiced. Critical thinking encourages the development of many crucial skills such as logical thinking, decision making, and open minded. And then we have this number 11, creates independence. When we think critically, we think on our own as we trust ourselves more. Critical thinking is the key to creating independence and encouraging students to make their own decisions and form their own opinions. So in this moment, I will give you to Ate Kate to end this report and to continue our reporting.
So, hello everyone. My name is Kate Louis Arfat, and I am here to continue the report of Miss Joyde. 12. Crucial life skill. Critical thinking is crucial not just for learning, but for life overall. Education isn't just a way to prepare ourselves for life, but it's pretty much life itself. Learning is a lifelong process that we go through each and every day. Who should use critical thinking? So, everybody use critical thinking because all of us thinks. Final words. First, critical thinking is high-level thinking. Second, it often requires us to think outside the box. Third, many occupations or careers require critical thinking. Fourth, the things we enjoy in everyday society are the result of critical thinking. Last, by adopting certain habits and behaviors, we can learn to think critically. Everyone thinks. It is in our nature to do so. But so much of our thinking, left to itself, is biased, distorted, partial, uninformed, or downright prejudiced. Yet, the quality of our life and that of what we produce depends on the quality of our thought. By Richard Paul.